Found Family Fortunes. Tonight, the Octocon family from the National Irish Science Fiction Convention, Kat, Moira, and Karina. And from the world of gaming, the Gaelcon family, Pat, Zoe, and Rory, are all here to play Found Family Fortunes, a quiz of uncommon knowledge from the common folk across sci-fi, fantasy, and horror, books, movies, comics, and games. And here is your host, James Brophy. Hello and good evening and welcome to you all in here, out there, watching us on YouTube and for the Friday night of the Octocon weekend. I'm James Brophy, one of Octocon's programming team, and I'll be your host for the next hour or so. Our Fillers program team have been out and about in the virtual sense, collecting answers from all corners from the world of fandom. The surveys always come back with quite interesting answers. When asked who the best Flash was, for instance, DC's marketing team said, "Who's the Flash?" Fandom, be it online or in person, is how people come together and share what they enjoy. Be it a TV show you love, a quest you need a party for, or the delight of finding one another, or just that one other person in the universe who loves your favorite book as much as you do. If you love something, hold it up for others to see, and you're a fan. Invite people to love it with you, and then you're in fandom. Tonight, our fortunate found families will not be competing for money. They will be competing for pride in our coveted award, which is worth nothing but our eternal respect. So we're having that valued later. We have the fortunes, we have the families, we have a whole weekend of programming waiting for us to get out of the way. So let's meet the Octocon family. So our team captain tonight is Kat. Say hello, Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat. I am head of program for Octocon as well as accessibility officer. So if you have any concerns about whether or not the venue is going to be accessible for you, I'm the person to ask.
So, Kat, can you introduce the rest of your team?
Yes, we have Moira, who is the secretary for Octocon and has been doing a bang-up job, and sometimes she shares pictures of her dog. And we have Karina, who is the Octocon webmaster. So she is the one that keeps the website up and running and fixes things.
Very important job there is. How are you tonight, Maura?
Oh, I'm good. Good, very good.
Are you excited about the quiz? Are you good on general knowledge?
I mean, yeah, if you give me like 3 or 4 hours to answer every question, I'll be right there.
Can't play favorites, I'm sorry. While you struggle with that crisis, I'm going to ask Karina, how are you doing, Karina?
I'm excellent, thank you, James.
What's the Lego behind you on the shelf?
Oh, there's a
it's the Falcon
right there.
No, but above you, is that is that a ghost or is that a? I'm sorry, I get very distracted by Lego. I'm somewhat of a toy fan. You might be. Are you looking forward to tonight, Karina?
I am, yes, absolutely. I have no idea what the questions are going to be or how to answer them, but I'm sure I will do terribly.
Well, that's if people have watched how Octocon teams have done before, let me just say this: if you answer anything correctly, you'll be acquitting yourself with great fortitude. So let's move on to the Gaelcon family and introduce someone who is probably going to be very familiar to folks who have been to Octocon for a number of years, and that's the absolutely lovely and charming Pat Marr. How you doing, Pat? Remember to unmute yourself now.
Yeah, that's probably going to be a regular occurrence. I always forget to unmute myself. Yeah, as James says, my name is Pat Marr, and I am a director of the Irish Games Association and its treasurer. The Irish Games Association is the governing body of Gaelcon, and I'm also do all the logistics and operations for Gaelcon. And with me I have Zoe, who is the IGA and Gaelcon's charity officer and the organizer of our currently award-winning charity auction, and Rory, who is our RPG and games coordinator.
Wonderful. Sorry, when is Gaelcon on this year?
Gaelcon is on the October bank holidays, so it's the 27th to 30th of October.
Excellent.
In the Plaza in Northwood and Santry.
Wonderful. Anyone who knows Octocon, at least from in person, will know that membership to Gaelcon is never quite far behind getting your membership to Octocon. And very often behind if you're membership to Octocon is very, very far behind if you're getting a membership to Gaelcon. It's always a big, great, huge, wonderful time, full with wonderful, wonderful experiences. So, how long have you been involved with Gaelcon, Zoe?
This is my third year on the Gaelcon committee. Second year as charity officer. I've dipped in and out over the years since the early 2000s.
So did you take on the charity officer role so you wouldn't have anything to do on the weekend? You could actually just enjoy yourself at the comp?
No. I was cornered in the pub.
I remember that. I remember being cornered in a pub once about helping out with a convention. And 20 years later, so before we get further into that story, Rory, how are you? How long have you been a Gaelcon attendee?
Oh, I'm living the dream, baby. I'm wearing my loudest shirt and I brought my biggest brain with me. I've been involved with Gaelcon vaguely for about 3 years, properly for about 2.
Do you think you'll do okay tonight with the questions? I understand you're somewhat of a Warhammer expert.
I kind of have to be. I work for Warhammer. But it seems there are no Warhammer questions coming up potentially, so we'll just have to rely on my pretty solid knowledge of Star Wars. Anything else, we'll see what happens.
So solid knowledge of Star Wars and nothing else.
We'll see what happens.
That's a rigorous dedication to fandom right there. To a specific fandom at the blinkering excess of nothing else. Well, I gotta say I appreciate that. Here we go with Found Family Fortunes. Let's have our team captains up to the podium. So, Pat and Kat. Dear folks, when I read the question out, the question will appear at the bottom of the screen for those that can't hear my voice. With 100 people surveyed, the top N of those will answers are on the board. And when you think you know what you think you have the answer, clap your hands or say clap if clapping your hands is an access problem, or if you just prefer it when you have the answer. So our first question tonight is 100 out of 100 people questioned. No. Right. Sorry. Which one have you clapped first?
Me.
Out of 100 people surveyed, they were asked to name a powerful princess. Pat.
She-Ra.
She-Ra. Let's see if She-Ra, the Princess of Power, sister of He-Man, is on the board. For 22 points, She-Ra is the number 2 answer. That's pretty great. Do you want to control the board or do you want to pass?
I'm looking at the other two. What do you say? Okay, we'll control the board.
Okay. So, going down the line, Zoe, can you name a powerful princess?
Unfortunately, Pat gave my automatic reaction already.
Do you have another one?
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia. Let's see if Princess Leia is on the board. Princess Alderaan, the Princess Leia. At 24 points is actually a better answer than She-Ra. Well done, Zoe. Now, can you keep it going, Rory? Name a powerful princess.
I'm going to go with Peach.
Peach. Princess Peach of the Toadstool Kingdom. Is Peach on the board? Peach is on the board for 7. It's a good, solid answer in the middle of the pack. And we're back to team leader Pat. Pat, can you name another powerful princess?
Not really.
Do you want to pass the board over, or do you want to take a crack at it?
Let's just take a crack and try Diana.
I assume you mean Diana, Princess of Themyscira, not Diana, Princess of Wales?
No, I meant Diana, Princess of Wales, let's see.
I'm going to assume. All right, let's see if Princess Diana of any form turns up on the board. Diana, Princess of Themyscira, better known as Diana Prince or Wonder Woman, is on the board for 10. Slightly better than the previous answer. So we're back to Zoe. Can you name another powerful princess?
No.
Try anything.
This is the point my brain has genuinely gone blank because all the answers.
Okay, do you want to pass and we'll just put next up?
Yeah.
All right, time's up. Pass on to Rory. What do you have there? Do you have another powerful princess to mention?
I think I do. I'm gonna go with Bubblegum.
Princess Bubblegum. Good answer. Let's see if it's on the board. Princess Bubblegum. Sadly,
Oh, come on.
Princess Bubblegum was in the survey, but it was actually so marginal it didn't actually make the board. I'm very sorry to hear that. So, back to Pat. Have you any other princesses to give us?
Maybe. Was
Yeah.
Mononoke a princess? Mononoke?
Princess Mononoke of the magnificent anime of the same name. Is Princess Mononoke on the board? Oh, so now Octocon has the chance to steal. Have you been thinking about princesses?
Okay, you guys, we got to be smart about this. So let's make sure that we brainstorm to come up with the right answer.
Okay, so Daenerys Targaryen.
That was one of my thoughts.
Princess Buttercup.
Princess Fiona.
What are you going with, guys? You've had your time to confer.
Or Glimmer.
Kat, I'd say it's up to you.
Let's go with Daenerys.
All right,
and
Princess.
Hope. Let's hope.
Princess Daenerys, the Stormborn. Let's see if she is on the board. For the glory of Westeros, Westeros is saved. Princess Daenerys is not turning up tonight, and Gaelcon gets the entire board. And with 63 points, Gaelcon takes the lead. Four out of the 7 possible answers were found. The missing answers were, let's see, just after Princess Diana and above Princess Peach was with 9 points, Princess Xena. The Warrior Princess, right there in the title, even though people forget. Just after Peach is another video game favorite, Princess Zelda, who is not who you're playing. If you're playing the game, you're playing Link. Princess Zelda, who's looking for. And lastly, is of course the only Disney princess to make the list.
That's who I was going to say when we were going for the steal.
Is Princess Elsa.
But you didn't.
But I didn't.
As we can see, our competitors are very enthusiastic about this year's competition. So let's have the next two teammates up to the podium, please, and unmute your mics. Everyone else, please put yourself on mute. That's Zoe and Moira, please. So, out of 100 people surveyed, they were asked, who is the best robotic sidekick? I believe Moira had that first.
I'm going to say R2-D2.
R2-D2 from Star Wars, all the way from Star Wars from start to finish. Is R2-D2 up on the board? With 23 points, R2-D2 is the top answer. So do you want to play or pass?
I'd say I want to play this one.
All right, then. So let's go back to the team. After Moira is Karina. Karina, can you name, out of 100 people surveyed, who would have said was the best robotic sidekick?
Chopper.
Chopper. Another Star Wars answer, an excellent robot to be sure. Let's see if Chopper is on the board. Sadly, his war crimes seem to have prevented him from gaining public recognition. Chopper is a droid, for those who might not know, with the highest body count in all of Star Wars. So, going back around to Kat, who is still laughing. Kat, can you name the best robotic sidekick in the opinion of 100 people surveyed?
K9 from Doctor Who.
K9 from Doctor Who. Let's see if K9 is on the board. With 20 points, the second best answer is K9. Surprisingly a fan favorite, but that might tell you about something. That might tell you something about the people surveyed. That a robot with 2 failed television shows and a guest appearance in a third is the number 2 best robotic sidekick out of our survey respondents. So back to you, Maura. Can you name another robotic sidekick?
Bender.
Bender. Let's see if Bender from Futurama. Let's see if Bender B. Rodriguez is on the board. Absolutely solidly clearing the board so far with 17 points. Bender B. Rodriguez, his voice is great. John DiMaggio is our third respondent of the night. Now, can you keep this incredible role going, Karina?
Okay, let's try BB-8.
BB-8, another Star Wars answer. Let's see if it'll work out for you. BB-8, is BB-8 on the board? Sadly, no. BB-8 is not on the board. Beautiful triumph of engineering and a very, very adorable little droid, but not on the board tonight. We're back around to Kat. Can you name another robotic sidekick?
Are we allowed to confirm when we have two X's?
I know that these are just for you. Can you name? Keep in mind, it's not just Star Wars. It's all robotic sidekicks from all media.
Rosie from the Jetsons.
Rosie from the Jetsons. Let's see if Rosie, the robotic helper, is on the board. Rosie is not a riveter, but she is made from them. And unfortunately, she has lost Octocon the board, but given Gaelcon the chance to steal. Can you put your heads together? And once I ask you, you have 3 seconds to confer and give me back who do you think out of 100 people surveyed would have said the best robotic sidekick?
So we can strategize together, right? We can. Okay, so and this is the last one, so we can throw out answers, right? There's no.
Have a little confer with yourselves.
The only thing I can think of is Kit from Knight Rider.
Kit from Knight Rider is not a robot; it's a car.
He's a robot car. He's a car that is a robot.
It would count as a robot.
Is 3PO up there? I mean, like he's the other half of the R2D2 ones, but I don't know if he's a sidekick.
He's as much a sidekick as anybody else mentioned.
I'm gonna have to ask for your final answer.
Zoe, your call. I think it's your round, isn't it?
I would have to go with your suggestion. Oh no, sorry, Rory's second suggestion, 3PO.
All right, let's see if C3PO, is played by the wonderful Anthony Daniels from start to still to this day, is C3PO on the board? Gaelcon, do not steal with C3PO. R2D2 was apparently by a distance the favorite of all the robots and droids out there to have as a sidekick. The other answers, so that brings Octocon up alongside Gaelcon with 60 points, but Gaelcon is still in the lead with 63. The other answers below Bender were Wall-E from the eponymous movie. Below that is a favorite of all radio play enthusiasts, Marvin the Paranoid Android from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Then after that is another TV favorite, Crichton from Red Dwarf. And lastly on the board is Clank from video game Ratchet and Clank. A wonderful little droid who has a very similar view of humans as Chopper does. I'm sure they get on very well as oil drinking buddies. So that's so there were a number of answers that didn't quite make it in because they were statistically not significant enough. No just didn't make it on the board from Ulysses 31. Baymax, Chopper was there. Data, EDI from Mass Effect, the TR-8C, which does anyone know what that is?
No.
I don't either. K2SO, of course, from Rogue One. The robot from the Robin Sparkles music videos, for those who watch How I Met Your Mother. I love whoever answered that. Please get in touch. Robbie the robot, and the last a single respondent entered with the robot Tiki from Buck Rogers in the 25th and a half century. No, he was just the 25th century. So let's have the next two people up to the board, Rory and Karina. So out of 100 people surveyed, they were asked to name a New Who companion. That's Ninth Doctor.
Clap.
I'm going to have to give that to Rory. Can you name a New Who companion, Ninth Doctor or later?
I got to go with Rory.
Rory. Okay, let's see if Rory is on the board.
What?
Not on the board.
Karina, I was biased by my own personality. No.
Rory is not on the board. Apologies to Rory and all the Rorys out there at home. Karina, what do you want to play or pass?
Play.
You want to keep the board and play? Okay. So let's stay with you, Karina. Can you name a Doctor Who companion, Ninth Doctor or later?
Yasmin Khan.
Yasmin Khan. Let's see if Yasmin Khan is on the board. Oh, it kills me that fan favorite Yasmin Khan did not make the actual list of the people who were surveyed. So going to Maura, can you name a New Who companion?
Donna?
Donna Noble. Donna of the House of Noble. Let's see if she's on the board. Donna Noble, second best answer with 24 respondents, is definitely on the board and winning you some points, putting Octocon in the lead. Let's go to let's go to Kat. Kat, can you name a
Rose?
Oh, straight in, not even waiting. Let's see if Rose Tyler is on the board. Rose Tyler with 26. There was no confusion because the new Rose had not been announced yet when we'd actually done this survey, in case people are curious. So when we now have the top two answers with Rose Tyler 26, Don Noble 24, can you extend Octocon's lead, Karina, any further? Can you by naming a New Who companion?
Amy Pond.
Amy Pond. Let's see if Amy Pond is on the board. Great answer. Amelia Pond, get your coat. You've got 13 points. You're bringing them all to Octocon. So back to Kat. Do you have another Who companion in you?
Yes, I have just blanked. I'm sorry. I was just thinking of one. River Song.
River Song. Let's see if River Song is on the board. Out of 100 people surveyed looking for a New Who companion, River Song did not make the cut, surprisingly. So we are on 2 X's out of 3. Gaelcon, stand ready. Have a think amongst yourselves about good New Who companions. And as we go back to Maura, can you save Octocon's bacon and name a New Who companion who made the cut?
This is such a gap in my fandom knowledge. Is there one called Clara?
Clara, that would be Clara Oswald, the girl who keeps dying and coming back and keeps dying, coming back. Let's see if Clara Oswald is on the board. Well done, well done, Maura, for 5 points. Clara Oswald sneaking in right at the end. So Octocon still retains control. Stand ready, Gaelcon. You still have 2 opportunities to get it. Let's go back to Karina. Can you fill in the blanks for the New Who companions between Amy Pond and Clara Oswald in popularity?
Captain Jack Harkness, who never dies.
Captain Jack Harkness, from someone who keeps dying to someone who never does. Captain Jack Harkness, is he on board? Captain Jack the Eternal is on the board with 6, just beating out Clara Oswald. And so we're back to Team Captain Cat. Can you name the missing...
Martha.
Martha. Okay, Martha Jones. Walking the World, telling a story of the Doctor in the year that everyone forgot, is Martha Jones of Unit on the board.
Yes!
Jones is the final name on the board, completely locking out Gaelcon and winning Octocon around 80 points, I believe. Let's see. Let's have a look at the scores. And now the scores are updated with Gaelcon with 63, but Octocon has taken a riotous lead with every Doctor Who companion in tow with 146 points. Some answers that didn't quite make the cut but were given were, of course, River Song, Rory Williams at the start, Yasmin Khan, who's a favorite of mine, the other two that didn't actually that were given but statistically weren't significant enough was of course Wilf Wilf portrayed by the lovely dear departed actor who had previously played Doctor Who cohort in one of the films, and Melody Pond. So moving on to the next round, it's now Pat and Kat up to the board. Out of 100 people surveyed, they were asked to name a Dungeons and Dragons class. That sounds resolutely like Pat Marr.
No, it wasn't. It was Cat.
It was Cat?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, okay. It must be my
I
headphones.
didn't even bother clapping.
Thank you so much, Pat, for being honest there. So, Cat Dog, can you name a Dungeons and Dragons class?
Paladin.
Paladin. Let's see if Paladin is on the board. With 9 at the center of the field, Paladin is on the board. Not a class I would have come up with off the top of my head, only being familiar with the cartoon. So, do you want to keep the board or do you want to hand it across? Do you think you can clear it?
What do you think, guys? Do you think we can? We're gonna play. We're gonna play. We're doing it the Irish way. You can go big or go home. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So strong support from the team going big, but not home. Let's bring you back to the team. So next up is Maura. Can you name a D&D class?
Rogue.
Rogue. Let's see if Rogue from the X-Men. No, wait, sorry. Let's see if Rogue, as the Dungeons and Dragons class, is up on the board. Top answer of 19. Very, very well done. I'm guessing you feel a lot more comfortable about this area. Excellent. So, Karina, can you keep it going? Name a Dungeons and Dragons class.
Magic user.
Magic user. That's the exact name you want to use.
Magic user, okay, / wizard. Depend on which version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. So magic user / wizard. Is magic user / wizard up on the board? Wizard with 8 is on the board. Well done. So going back around to team captain Kat, do you have another one for us?
Cleric.
Cleric. Okay, cleric. Let's see if you have a cleric or you need one. Cleric is cleric up on the board? With 6 points, it's the lowest answer. The top of the board still needs to be cleared, but you're still there. No X's as yet. So moving back to Maura, can you give us those top 3 answers?
My favorite class to play, fighter.
Fighter. Let's see if fighter is up on the board. Might be your favorite class, but apparently it's not competitive amongst the 100 people who were surveyed to ask to name a D&D class. Karina, can you do any better?
I hope so. Berserker?
Berserker. Let's see if Berserker is up on the board, and let's not spin into a rage if it's not. Gaelcon, stand ready. This might not just be a question tailored for you. This might be your opportunity to steal. We're back to team captain Kat. Can you hold on to the D&D class names?
Bard.
Bard. Okay, let's see if Bard is up on the board. With 13 points, Bard is on the board, as marvelously portrayed in the recent D&D film. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed watching Captain Kirk break out of Rura Pente. Let's see. Can Maura name another D&D class?
Druid.
Druid. Okay, let's see if the Druids are not just part of Irish folklore and history. Let's see if the Druids are up on the board. Second answer with 16 points. Very well done. There's only one answer remaining, but also an opportunity to get it wrong and for Gaelcon to steal. Karina, it's all down to this. Can you name a Dungeons Dragons class that's missing between Bard and Paladin?
Ranger?
Ranger. All right, let's see if Ranger is up on the board. Sadly, it is not. Gaelcon, you have an opportunity now. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to confer. What do you think the missing answer in the survey of a Dungeons and Dragons class, can you name one of those, is?
It's going to be Warlock.
You think Warlock? Warlock or Sorcerer?
Warlock or Sorcerer, and if I had to choose one or the other, I would say Warlock.
Warlock
Yeah, I agree. It's not Monk. It's not
is-
Monk.
Okay, is Warlock the specific name you're going for?
Yes, that's a class name.
All right, so
Come on,
Warlock,
baby.
let's see if Warlock is up on the board. Very sorry. Warlock
We're
is
getting
not-
rinsed.
Very sorry. Warlock
It's
is not
Sorcerer.
up on the board. So that means Octocon is now startlingly on the question about D&D classes, shooting into the lead with 217 points to Gaelcon's early lead of 63.
If it's Monk, I'm going to scream.
The missing answer was Mage. Yeah.
Is that a class?
Yeah, actually, that is the
Mage
class.
Thank you for confirming, Pat. Yes, Mage is a class. The reason I was asking you to be very specific with your answers there, and I did want you to qualify, is because I didn't want there to be any. I didn't want you to be certain of your answers you're giving them. Very great effort by Gaelcon, and I think it just didn't flow. It just didn't flow towards you this time. It's no shame in that. Let's get our next two contestants up to the board. That's Zoe and Maura, and let's give you an opportunity for redemption by asking you to name a modern sci-fi or fantasy book to TV adaptation. Clap when you have it. I believe that's Maura.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Okay. Let's see if Game of Thrones is up on the board. Game of Thrones is our second answer with 12 points. Well done. Oh, sorry. It's our third answer with 12 points. Very well done. So, with Game of Thrones on the board as the third answer, do you want to play or pass?
And look at the team. I think we're going to play.
All right. So, modern sci-fi TV, sci-fi or fantasy book to TV adaptations. Can Karina name another one to keep the board alive?
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time. Let's see if Wheel of Time is up on the board. Wheel of Time with 11. I think there might be more books than that. But Wheel of Time is the fourth answer with 11. And we're back to Team Captain Cat. Can you name another?
Ring of Power. Rings of Power? Ring of Power? Do I have to get that exactly right?
It's a book to TV adaptation. You want to say Rings of Power?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if out of 100 people surveyed and asked to name a modern sci-fi or fantasy book to TV adaptation, did they say Rings of Power? They did not. It is an adaptation. It does count, but it wasn't a high response in our survey. Let's see. Let's go on to, and just to be clear, the Lord of the Rings wasn't actually an answer either, which is why it doesn't come up as that either. So let's go on to it's still all to play for. Let's go back to Maura. Can you name another sci-fi or fantasy book to TV adaptation?
Good Omens.
Good Omens. Let's see if it's a good omen for Octocon. With 29 points, it is the top answer, of course. Everybody loves Good Omens. Who could not? Karina, can you name another book to TV adaptation?
How about Foundation?
Foundation, absolutely wonderful series, which has really come into its own second season. Strong recommendation from this host. Let's see if Foundation is on the board. Trailing at the very bottom, with 3 respondents, Foundation is on the board and keeps Octocon in the running. So we're back to Cash. Can you name another adaptation of sci-fi or fantasy from books to television?
The Shadow and Bone.
Shadow and Bone. Let's see if Shadow and Bone is up on the board. A real fan favorite and a cracking time. Shadow and Bone is, of course, up on the board with 9 respondents, just below Wheel of Time. So we are back to you, Maura. It's your board. You won it for them. Can you fill it out? Only 2 spots remaining.
Oh, I'm just gonna take a punt on something here and say Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. All right. Let's see if Ahsoka from Star Wars is up on the board. It's a really interesting answer for a number of reasons, but sadly, Ahsoka does not actually make the board. We're back to Karina, and it does seem to keep coming back to you in these clutch moments. Can you keep the board for Octocon, or will you give Gaelcon their opportunity to steal?
Say, I'm not sure if it's popular enough, but Around the World in 80 Days?
Around the World in 80 Days, an absolute classic. Adapted many times, of course, both in animation and live action, is Around the World in 80 Days on the board. Sadly, it did not make the list of respondents. I don't believe it actually even made the list of unused answers. So, Gaelcon, can you fill in between Good Omens and Game of Thrones, between Shadow, Bone, and Foundation? Can you name a modern sci-fi or fantasy book to TV adaptation that would have come up when 100 people were surveyed to answer that question?
Oh, The Expanse, maybe, guys?
That's what I was thinking, The Expanse.
Yeah.
Is Expanse your final answer?
Others?
Yeah.
All right, final answer from confident team captain Pat. Let's see if Expanse is up on the board. Absolute triumph of television adaptation. The Expanse, of course, involving the original authors teaming up with Naren Shankar, formerly of Star Trek Next Generation, where he cut his teeth writing. The Expanse is our second answer with 20, bringing Gaelcon's points pile up to 147, still behind Octocon's 217, but it's all to play for still. The only missing answer on the board between Shadow and Bone and Foundation was, of course, His Dark Materials, an absolutely wonderful adaptation by the BBC. The Ahsoka answer was really interesting because Ahsoka was a Star Wars novel. It was written when the Clone Wars TV show was cancelled as Disney bought the property, but the Ahsoka parts of the Ahsoka novel were adapted into the Clone Wars TV show. The Ahsoka TV show is not an adaptation of any other work. It is original content by Dave Filoni. The other answers that didn't quite make it were, let's see, Dark Matter, which I'm not sure if that was a book first before it was a TV show from the creators of Stargate. The Witcher, of course, and The Peripheral, also on Amazon. Now at the halfway stage, the Octocon team have 217 points. The Gaelcon team have 174 points, but it's all to play as we move into double money after the break. Found Family Fortunes is exclusively brought to you by Octocon, happening this weekend. The National Irish Science Fiction Convention Octocon is not run for profit. For the last 33 years, has been run purely by the goodwill and volunteer spirit of fans just like yourself and myself. Every year, we run various fundraising events for our chosen charity, and this year our charity is the Irish Deaf Society. The Irish Deaf Society is the only national deaf-led representative organisation of the deaf, serving the interests and welfare of the deaf community. It provides a number of educational, personal, and social services to deaf children, adults, and their families. The Irish Deaf Society seeks to achieve and promote the equality and rights of deaf people in Ireland. With an awareness of their identity and their rights as individuals, deaf people in Ireland are enabled to celebrate their culture and continue to ensure the upholding of Irish Sign Language recognition and break down barriers in discrimination. And we're very glad to have them as our official charity this year at Octocon. We'll be back for double money right after the break. Welcome back to Found Family Fortunes, run by Octocon. Our charity this year is the Irish Deaf Society. Please do check out deaf.ie and have a look at everything they do. It's really, really worthy cause. There is still time to register for Octocon itself, as this is only going out on the Friday night. There's a whole Saturday and Sunday of great times to have. If you can't attend in person, then register now online and check out. You can get access to our Discord running throughout the entire convention and see our many, many online events. And hopefully, whether you're in person or online, you'll meet some people and make some new friends. So before the break, Octocon's family have 217 points. The Gaelcon family are behind on 147 points, but it's all to play for as we double the reward for every answer from this point in. So let's have the next two family members up for their last trip to the podium, Karina and Rory. And let's see what happens when we play for double money. We're in double money time now, so clap your hands on screen when you're sure you have an answer out of 100 people surveyed. They were asked to name a Star Trek ship that is not the Enterprise. I believe Karina had that well ahead of you. So
I heard
Karina,
no clap.
Can you name a Star Trek ship which is not the Enterprise?
The Cerritos.
The Cerritos. The absolutely beautiful ship from the new animated series is the Cerritos, up on the board. The Cerritos is with 9 respondents, the third answer on the board. Do you want to play or pass, Karina?
What do you say?
Do you want to play or pass?
Moira, what's your thoughts?
Only a few are coming to mind, so we might.
I vote we pass.
Yeah,
okay, so interesting tactical move for the first time tonight. Let's see if Gaelcon have the knowledge. So moving down the list to the next person on the team, Pat, team captain. Can you name a Star Trek ship that is not the Enterprise?
Discovery.
Discovery. Let's see if Discovery is up on the board. The absolutely beautiful spinning wonder that is Discovery, powered by mushrooms somehow. With 16 respondents, Discovery is the number 2 answer, and of course, the return of Star Trek to our TV screens. Great answer. Can you name a third one, Zoe?
Constitution?
Constitution. Let's see if out of 100 people surveyed, asked to name a Star Trek ship that is not the Enterprise, did the Constitution make the cut? It's a correct answer. Constitution is the class of an Enterprise ship, and every class is, of course, named after the first ship of that line. But sadly, it was not one of the top answers given. Good logic, but unfortunately, the crowd wasn't with you. So we're back to Rory. Can you name a Star Trek ship?
James, I think this is a strategic masterclass from Octocon. I think I can do. I'm pretty sure there's a Star Trek show called Voyager.
You're pretty sure that there's a Star Trek show called Voyager. Let's see if anyone's heard of it.
Maybe be a ship.
Let's see if it is a ship. Voyager is the top answer with 31 respondents who are asked.
Just as I planned.
That was not the Enterprise. That was a wonderful bit of mining deep into your mind for an answer. Pat, can you continue the streak and give us the fourth most popular ship, which is an Enterprise?
The Stargazer, Picard's first command.
Picard's first command, the Stargazer, is stolen by the Ferengi in their first interaction with Starfleet. Well, some might say. Let's see if it's up on the board. Stargazer is down the list, but it is definitely there with 5 answers. A good, solid answer. I just remembered it's also been remade, or it's been something else has been renamed it. I couldn't tell where it was the original ship or not when I was watching Picard. So going back round to Zoe, can you name another Star Trek spaceship which is not an Enterprise?
I'm gonna have to pass. I'm sorry.
You're just going to take the X?
Yeah.
You want to take a punt?
Star Trek is just not.
That's okay. All right, we'll take the X. Let's go on. So we're back from the story. It's much higher stakes now. There are 3 answers left.
I'm really racking my brain because I have watched a lot of The Next Generation, but I know that's an Enterprise, so it's useless to me. I don't know why, but in my head, the name USS America keeps coming up, so I'm just going to try that because I think that'd be pretty cool.
Okay, let's see if the USS America comes up. USS America is not a Star Trek ship that I'm aware of. It may be out there in the wider canon, but it also, more importantly, it did not turn up out of 100 people surveyed. Now, Octocon, this is your opportunity. Do you want to discuss amongst yourselves and come up with a top answer for a Star Trek ship which is not the Enterprise?
So like an incorrect answer would be DS9, but it might be something people say.
A correct answer might be the Defiant, which is a ship in DS9.
My first thought was the Defiant.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Do you have a final?
will we go with that?
Let's go with the Defiant.
Let's see if Octocon can steal the board with the answer of the Defiant. 2 different ships across the entire war with the Dominion. The Defiant is, of course, on the board with 8 just below the Cerritos. Well done, Octocon, for stealing the round. The answers that did not come up on the board were, of course, just after the Defiant is the Excelsior, the NX-2000, the Great Transwarp Experiment, which resulted in great failure. And Scotty didn't harm that ship at all. No, he didn't harm that ship at all. And the last answer on the board was, somewhat controversially, but given by enough respondents to actually make the board, out of 100 people surveyed to name a Star Trek ship which was not the Enterprise, they answered the Bird of Prey, or a Bird of Prey. There have been several, hundreds. So many of them have gone unnamed, though, unless you're reading the novelizations or the comic book adaptations. So the other answers which didn't make the cut were the Intrepid, which is the class of ship which Voyager is. USS Intrepid has shown up at Deep Space Nine and other places. Super Space was an answer. For some reason, I don't know how to relate that back to Star Trek. The Cerberus was an answer. Bozeman, named, of course, after Bozeman, Montana. Titan, the ship of Captain Riker. The Yangtze, I believe the actual name is Yangtze Kien, which is one of the ships destroyed in Wolf 359. And that one from Deep Space Nine was one of our respondents. The very last respondent was the Kobayashi Maru, which some people think is the name of the scenario, which of course is the name of the scenario, but it is also the name of the ship you're rescuing in the scenario. So it is a valid name of a ship in Star Trek, even if it's not a real ship in Star Trek. So moving on to our second last round. Let's have our team captains, Pat and Kat, up to the board for the last time. How are you feeling? How are you feeling, Kat?
Well, I'm really, really glad that I didn't just screw my team over by suggesting we pass.
How are you feeling, Pat?
Lost in the void. I really didn't think that they would steal that back.
It's a treacherous game we play when we go into trivia on Star Trek facts. It's a universal truth of life, sadly. But hopefully our next round will go a little more your way. So, out of 100 people surveyed, they were asked to name a famous dragon. Pat, straight ahead, can you name a famous dragon for us?
Smog.
Smog. Let's see if Smog, who needs no introduction, is up on the board. Smog, of course, is our top answer with 37 up on the board. Do you want to play or pass? How confident do you feel about your team's dragon knowledge, Pat?
Not very. Let's pass.
You want to pass? Okay. Octocon, it goes to you now. Let's see. Kat, can you name a famous dragon?
Puff.
Puff.
Puff
the Magic Dragon lives by the sea.
By the sea.
Of course, made famous by the Disney film of the same name. Is Puff, the Magic Dragon, up on the board? Our number 2 answer for name a famous dragon among science fiction.
I'm very relieved by that one. I have to admit.
Puff the Magic Dragon. Half the answers of Smog, but still on the board. So below that, Maura, it now goes to you. Can you name a famous dragon?
Toothless.
Toothless, wonderful dragon from the How to Train Your Dragon series of books and, of course, magnificent animated shows and films. Is Toothless on the board? The Black Beauty of Toothless, of course, is the third answer with 12 respondents. Let's see. Can Karina keep it going? Out of 100 people surveyed, they were asked to name a famous dragon. Can you name one of those dragons?
Not my favorite, but probably popular. Aragon.
Aragon, excellent book series. Let's not talk about the film. Is Aragon on the board? Aragon with 4 respondents is, of course, on the board. A great answer. And we're back to Team Captain Kat, who might just be melting through the wall with happiness right now. Can you keep it going? Name a famous dragon.
Falkor from the Neverending Story.
Falkor from the Neverending Story.
He's a good luck dragon.
For the kids out there who don't know, he's a luck dragon. He's from the 80s. Let's see if he's still relevant today. Is Falkor on the board? Falkor is on the board with 9 points, higher than Aragon, just below Toothless. There's only one answer left, and it all comes down to Maura. You've plenty of lifelines left, so you can just take a punt at anything at all.
I'm hoping he's still in the public consciousness after that travesty of a finale, but Drogon.
Drogon. Oh, let's see if Drogon, who's got a higher kill count than Chopper, is on the board. Again, high kill counts don't seem to anthropomorphize fictional creatures to the general public. So, Drogon did not make the board, but it's not over yet. There are still 2 lifelines to go, and we're back around to Karina. Can you name another famous dragon?
Oh, that's a tough one. I have 2. Temeraire.
Temeraire, absolutely magnificent novel series, highly recommended to anyone out there who hasn't read them. Let's see if Temeraire is on the board. And when Temeraire reached out to grab its rider, the rider unfortunately was a pillar of smoke, and so not on the board. I'm trying to see if let's see if I actually remembered that in any way correctly as a quote from the book. So there's still one answer left, but there's an opportunity for Gaelcon to steal. We're back to Team Captain Cat. Can you name the missing dragon from the list of famous dragons?
Mushu.
Mushu from the Disney film Mulan, as played by Eddie Murphy. Let's see if Mushu has made the board. Sadly not. Mushu is not on the board. While he's a lovely dish, and Eddie Murphy's quite dishy, not popular enough in the general consciousness. This is now Gaelcon's chance to steal the points. Remember, it's double money, so it's all to play for. Do you want to confer amongst yourselves and come up with the missing dragon?
All I can think of is the Hungarian horntail from Harry Potter, which is a real reach. Not even a dragon I like very much.
What about the dragon from How to Train Your Dragon?
That's toothless.
That's
already on the board.
It is, of course it is. Oh.
I had like 5 and they've all been taken by these genius Octocon boffins.
Nothing except randomly choosing one of Daenerys's.
Weirdly, probably not chosen by anyone is Zog from the children's book.
Nicol Bolas from Magic the Gathering, he's a dragon.
I'm going to have to ask for a final answer.
Let's go with Zog.
Zog.
Yeah.
From the children's book.
We've really got nothing.
Okay, so Zog. What Gaelcon have is you don't have nothing. You have Zog. Let's see if Zog in your corner is what you need to really flame Octocon. Is Zog up on the board? Very sorry, Zog is not the final answer. This is a very, very, very tough spot to get yourselves out of, though, because out of the survey, the final question is always going to be the toughest one to get, because the top answer is probably easiest if you know the subject, but the last answer is a little like playing pointless. So the scores have been totted up, and oh boy, it's not looking good for Gaelcon on 147 points, because Octocon is positively rocketing ahead with an octopus clean to the side with 509 points currently. So the last dragon that was missing from the board is Draco. Draco the dragon was the last answer that was given. Draco is from, if I remember correctly, Dragonheart, as played by Sean Connery. Which I would not have picked out of a lineup myself. I would have given 3 games of Throne Dragons before I gave Draco. But that's the answers we got, and so that's the score we have to abide by. Other answers that came up were Deathwing, Fanfear. Apologies to the Dragon community if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Haku, apologies to Dragon community because I'm about to pronounce all of these incorrectly. Kilgar, Light Dragon from the Tears of the Kingdom. Mushu was actually in the running but didn't get enough respondents. Orlith, Ramoth, and Ruth, of course, from the Burn series. And the last dragon that was mentioned, a favorite of mine, but unfortunately not a favorite of enough people to make the board, Spyro the Dragon from the PS1 games. And now for our last round, let's have our last 2 competitors up to the board, Zoe and Moira. Zoe, it's been a tough night, but you've acquitted yourself well. Can you tell us before we run out of time? Can you tell us what are you looking forward to most on the weekend of Gaelcon?
Running the charity auction. Loved running it last year, and I'm really looking forward to running it again.
Charity auction, of course, is a world famous activity. Every Gaelcon, it's a magnificent time. If you haven't been, absolutely do go. Even if you don't intend to spend money, bring some cash anyway, because you will find a reason. Gaelcon, of course, is a wonderful, wonderful organization, which has brought so much joy to so many people over the years. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. So, Maura, how are you feeling? Are you feeling confident going into the last round?
I'm just relieved because I think we're in the clear, but obviously we're going for glory now.
Okay, playing for glory is Maura. So, our last question of the evening. 100 people surveyed were asked to name a film based on a Stephen King story. Head of Gaelcon was Zoe. Let's see if you can win glory for Gaelcon.
The Shining.
The Shining. Let's see if The Shining is on the board. Second answer, 15 points. The Shining is a very good answer, Zoe. Let's see. Do you want to hold on the board, or do you want to pass it across?
Hold.
You want to hold on the board. You're feeling confident. Excellent. So, Rory, can you name a film based on a Stephen King story?
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm going to say Misery.
Misery. A wonderful thing to watch, but possibly not for our authors at Octocon. Let's see if Misery is up on the board. Misery with 8 points is, of course, up on the board. So back round to team captain Pat. Can you name a film based on a Stephen King story? It. The definite article. Let's see if it is up on the board. Good answer. 33, the top answer. Of course, adapted recently into 2 different films. People did not respond. If people are curious, people did not respond to the survey by saying It Part 1 or Part 2. They actually did just respond by saying It and treating the whole of both films of the adaptation as a single unit. It, of course, before was adapted as a TV serial. So before that adaptation, this would have been a wrong answer. So going back to Zoe, do you have another in you? Can you name a Stephen King story that turned into a film?
Carrie.
Carrie. Let's see if Carrie is up on the board. World famous for dropping red liquid onto teenagers everywhere. Carrie's, of course, on the board with 12 points. And we're back to Rory. Can you name another Stephen King story?
It's my favorite cocaine-addled fever dream, Cujo.
Your favorite pop rock's adult fever dream. Let's see if it is up on the board. Cujo is not up on the board. I'm sorry to say. Your first mark of the night. So, Pat, can you continue your streak, or will this be another black mark?
Running Man.
The Running Man. Great answer. Let's see if The Running Man, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, is up on the board. Sadly, it is not. Perhaps not enough people
realize it's based on Stephen King book.
Perhaps not enough people made the same mistake you did. Is what I was about to say. So it all comes back to you, Zoe. Can you keep it, or will you give opportunity to steal your glory from you?
The next one that jumps to my head, I don't know if a lot of people know it's a Stephen King one, but Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, of course, starring Will Wheaton, who we would know from Star Trek Next Generation, among many other wonderful young actors. Let's see if Stand By Me is up on the board. Stand By Me is up on the board. A wonderful film of childhood looking at dead bodies. Sorry, that just went right from under me. It happens like that sometimes. So we're back around to Rory. Can you name, between Carrie and Misery, between Misery and Stand By Me, can you name what out of 100 people were asked to name a Stephen King story that's been adapted to film? What films did they name?
I've got about 3, but I don't know if any of them are popular enough. I think the most recent, most well-known, maybe The Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower, really interesting answer. Let's see if The Dark Tower is up on the board, or will Octocon have the opportunity to steal? Sadly, no. The Dark Tower did not make the cut. So this is now Octocon's chance to steal with two spaces on the board between Carrie and Misery, between Misery and Stand By Me. Can the Octocon team confer amongst yourselves now and think of what you want to answer to possibly steal?
Which do we think is more likely to be on the board? Pet Cemetery or The Green Mile?
Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption.
Is that
Any
your
of
final
those?
But
answer?
is that going to run into the same issue as some people don't realize it's Stephen King?
Or maybe it's the first one that jumped to my mind. So
I'm gonna have to push
Yeah,
you.
and I was thinking Christine, but I'm not sure if it's as famous as the other ones.
yeah.
I didn't even
I'm-
see it.
Kat, I gotta leave it to you. You
I'm going to say Pet Cemetery and hope that it's on the board.
All right, let's see. Pet Cemetery. Is Pet Cemetery on the board as a Stephen King adaptation from a story into a film? With 6 points, Pet Cemetery is on the board, allowing Octocon to steal the entire board for themselves. Congratulations to Octocon. Commiserations to Gaelcon. Well done in your deciding there. The final tally. Oh, the final tally we'll get to in a minute because, oh boy, that is rough. I just want to say this is the first time Octocon's ever won this. We keep a pretty strong wall between the people who are on the teams and the people who are setting the questions. So, in case anyone wants to call this a fix, you're, of course, free to. It doesn't matter. This isn't official. You know, just enjoy yourselves and don't worry too much about stuff. So the final answer that was missing between Carrie and Misery from the board was my personal favorite of all the Stephen King films that are based on his short stories, The Shawshank Redemption. Well done to the Octocon team for choosing the right answer and the safe answer there. So with 174 points added to their total, Octocon is the clear winner. It's commiserations and thanks to a great try to the Gaelcon family of Pat, Zoe, and Rory. Congratulations and so much thanks to our winners, the Octocon family of Kat, Maura, and Karina. And thanks home to you thanks to you at home for watching tonight. We're running more events like this, but possibly a little less tired by the end. And not quite as complicated all across the convention weekend. So take a look at your schedules and plot out your route through the weekend to come, both online and in person at the hotel. Thank you to everyone who filled in our survey. Thank you to Sakura for producing us today. For Farinay, who I've apologized to many times in parts of this, which you are never going to see because they've been edited out, for being our head of virtual ops and for making us all, especially me, look a lot more competent in the edit. Catherine from our programming team has done a magnificent job in assembling the questions, as she always does, from the survey respondents. And thanks to Daniela for help with the gags behind the scenes. I've been and will continue to be James Brophy, builder of the set and your host for today. If you enjoyed the quiz, then consider a donation, large or small, to the Irish Deaf Society, who Octocon is being run in aid of this year. And hopefully we'll see you all again over the weekend at Octocon.